All right, Jeremy Weiss here. We're here live at RetailX. I'm here with Steve Simonson, and he started Empowery. And Steve, tell us what Empowery is.
So Empowery is we call it the e-commerce cooperative. It's a nonprofit, member-owned organization to help really awesome entrepreneurs find really awesome vendors and resources. It's nothing like it, and we think it's pretty cool.
So why did you start it?
Well, I've been in a lot of industries, and every industry has a co-op, and they have a cooperative where everybody, all the independents try to band together for influence and buying power and all the cool things that come with size. And e-commerce, surprisingly, in all these years, still doesn't have a co-op. So I finally said, after 20 years in e-com, let's do it.
You know, I want to give people a perspective of your breadth of experience. Take me back to when you first started with e-commerce, and what were you doing? When was that?
So my first days in e-com, really mid-90s, I'm trying to figure out what to do. But my first secure shopping cart sale in 1998, and it was a rug I sold all the way to Bulgaria, and we were celebrating, and then the rug was out of stock. We finally shipped the rug, and then the next day we get in the mail the credit card notice that it was a fraudulent transaation. My very first sale, but we were hooked. We were hooked. We loved it, and we carried on from there.
I'm surprised you didn't just this. This is not for me.
A rational person would run away. Yeah, a rational person would run far away, but not me. I'm crazy.
What was the next major milestone that you remember in your e-commerce journey?
So a couple months later, we said, we don't know how much shipping costs anyway, right? In the old days, 99, you just need to make something happen. So we ran a free shipping promotion. And
that was pretty innovative at the time, right?
Well, we weren't thinking innovation. We were feeling like we didn't know how much shipping was anyway, so how do we know how much to charge for it? And so we ran this free shipping promotion, and over the course of 14 days, we completely melted down. More orders, everything's out of stock. It was both a disaster and a delight, and we were definitely hooked. We took the phone number off the website. I mean, we truly melted down, and we only did $40,000 in that 14 days, but I invested heavy after that.
Give me an idea of what was the landscape of the internet at that time when you did the free shipping offer. What was around? What was popular?
So this is back in the days of all the famous .coms, the pets.com and all the Super Bowl ads. It was a very, that was the first bubble time for the e-commerce. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Everybody's valued on revenue at the time, right? So if somebody does $1 million in revenue, it's 80 times revenue, you're worth $80 million, right? And so people were raising money. It was crazy. We didn't understand it entirely, but we had some fun.
So in Empowery, talk about some successes, some client successes that come out of Empowery and how people use it.
Yeah, so again, the principle, if you match really awesome entrepreneurs with really awesome vendors, you get some great combinations. So in one case, we have a merchant, they were able to save on the credit card transactions for card not present, which is what e-commerce guys do, 40% on the merchant fees by switching to one of our providers. We had another person, they're now saving $3,000 a month in freight shipping on just switching to an approved Empowery provider, and still others that save on third-party logistics and just many, many innovative things that they're matching up and finding that they wouldn't have found on their own.
I don't know if you can answer this question, but I'll ask it anyways. Who are the most popular vendors that people use on Empowery?
So I can say vendor types. Okay. So the credit card providers obviously is a big one. We have really great mystery shopper type services that help people rank on Walmart or Amazon and things like that. Very, very popular. Our freight forwarding, again, very big ticket item. We have a ton of copywriters, patent lawyers, all kinds of things that people, like the top 5 or 6 things, they can really be very lucrative for them.
And I know you get a lot of data with sellers and you communicate with a lot of sellers. What are some of the big mistakes you see sellers are making when they're running their business?
Gosh, one of them is that we often just feel like we're isolated and alone, right? Many, especially e-commerce folks, they're starting up, maybe they're not quite at scale, and they're isolated. They just think that they have to solve every problem themselves. And they can network, they can talk to their friends and colleagues, and do some masterminding and networking to help each other figure out these problems instead of solving every problem like they're inventing the wheel for the first time. It's a lot of wasted energy, and it makes people feel isolated and not productive.
What were some of people they kind of silo themselves a bit. What are some of the biggest questions that you get running the organization and, talking to e-commerce sellers?
So, of course, one of the big picture questions people ask is, why am I doing this? What's my exit? And so that's a big deal to us. We want to help people create equity and wealth in the business. Their brand is something that should generate value over time. And so we want to help them know why they're going and how they get there. We have great exit partners that can help people strategically plan. And then we plan backwards from the point you're going to exit all the way back to now. What do you have to do? And we help fill in that big puzzle to help them. And that's a big deal to us.
I find most people are not talking about that. What are some of those pieces they need to put in place to get an exit or a bigger exit?
Yeah, so as always, there's a couple of key components, right? You want revenue to grow, you want leverage so profit grows even faster than revenue, and then fundamentally, you want to have a good, solid brand. And so we help people with branding, we help people with sourcing, we help people line up and fill in wherever they're weakest. So some people are great marketers, other people are great operators. Our philosophy is wherever you're not strong, we'll help you fill in those spots.
Talk about some of the future retail versus in addition to and or e-commerce and how they will grow together and how that will work in the future.
Well, I'm definitely a believer in the convergence in this so-called omnichannel idea, right? Some of the retailers have, if they would really figure out how to plug in e-commerce, they could do a lot better. And if e-commerce could figure out how to deal with retail or cooperate with retail, there's some potential synergies there. But there's even more opportunity, I think, for the brands who want to sell direct to consumers, right? That's the D2C model, so-called, is what's really getting a lot of traction right now. Consumers love it, brands love it, and although it's not perfect for the guys in the middle, there is a way for them to coexist because those guys add a lot of value. And you just have to kind of line up the pieces and make sure everybody wins. And we've seen examples of that working.
Steve, thank you for sharing your knowledge live from RetailX.